Good morning, everybody. This is Mrs. Raven Tactical Prepper coming to you from the very cold, only mid-autumn winter woods of southern Wisconsin. Raven is away on training this weekend, so I am taking the opportunity to introduce myself and talk about sort of the softer side of prepping, and kind of talk about how we balance each other out as a prepper team. Okay, I just have to whine again for just a brief moment. It is so cold out here. I think the winds are gusting between 15 and 20 miles per hour, and I think the temperature is somewhere around 38 degrees, which is just unseasonably cold for this time of year. So bear with me if my eyes look like they're watering and I'm crying. It's not I'm crying, it's because it's just cold. And my eyes are tearing up. Anyway, I'll try to stop whining. So, the softer side of prepping. Raven talks a lot about, squad tactics and fire teams and all of those sorts of harder edging issues, which, definitely that's his realm. My focus is on how to make life comfortable after the event. I don't want to live or be a survivor of an event and be miserable for who knows what amount of time until there is, if there ever is, some restoration of services or the world as we used to know it. I want my family and our tribe to thrive and have a happy and abundant life after the event. So my main focus is on creating a nest, a happy home, and also my main focus for our tribe is on food storage and food preparation. Preppers spend a lot of time talking about, you need to store up on your beans and your oats and your rice, and we have all of those things, and those are definitely things that you need to have as a staple in your pantry. But what do you do with those after so many weeks or months or potentially years? How do you make rice appealing? How do you make beans appealing after using that as a main staple for your diet? One of my solutions for that is I store bulk organic spices. I get them from an organic co-op. I put them, when they arrive, I take them out of their bags. I put them in mason jars and I dry seal them. And they're in storage. And I have things like paprika and onion powder and garlic powder and dill and thyme, and I have pretty much, if there is a spice or an herb out there, I've got it, or am getting it. That's kind of one of my goals. I realize, of course, fresh spices and herbs are better, and that dry spices will only last a certain time, but you know what? If the poo flies today, I have probably enough spices to make our diet more interesting than the person who doesn't. Okay, so it's a thing I can do. I'm trying to grow fresh herbs and spices, but my green thumb isn't cooperating with me so far. There's a huge learning curve to growing any kind of food. I could spend probably another couple of videos just focused on that. Okay, are you listening? Folks who say, oh, I'm just gonna pack up my apartment here in the city and I'm gonna bug out to the woods and I'm just gonna live off the land. Well, you know what? Good luck, sister, brother, because growing food, it's not as easy as you think. Anyway, so food is a major focus of my life. It is definitely one of the softer aspects of prepping. I taught myself how to can and pressure can We want to have different ways of storing and preserving food to get us over the initial hump of, you know what, Walmart's gone, the grocery stores are gone, and we have to, until we can build a system of self-sustaining food supply, we have to have something to tie us over. So we have a lot of different varieties of canned meat, of course canned vegetables, tomato products, and one of my goals, it's pretty lofty, but I would like to learn how to salt cure meat. We don't have the infrastructure right now to do that, but it is a lofty goal of mine, right? Because we're prepping for the worst case scenario where we don't have electricity to have a freezer running. So what are you going to do with the deer that you've harvested from the woods? My only source right now is to pressure can the meat for long-term storage, or to dry it to make jerky. We can do some of that, but so anyway, yeah, other methods of preserving food is on my list of things to learn. So here's the chicken palace. I think Raven has done videos on this before. Here's a couple of my girls. We built the split door because in the winter the snow accumulates to such a depth that we couldn't pull the door open all the way to get in and to swap out their water and feed. So we built the bottom door to equal the level of about where the snow was last year, so that we can just open the top door. The chickens will be able to jump in from that height, and we'll just basically step in because the snow will be up to that 2.5 or 3 foot level. Yep, it's a chicken palace, Palacio de Pollo. My girls are super happy. They free range during the day. We only put them in at night to protect them from predators. We have never lost a bird to predation in the 3 years that we've kept birds. One of my pear trees that's gone dormant for the season. And yeah, here is my garden. Wow, I apologize for the wind. I hope you guys can hear me. I have been using the method of planting in boxes using plastic mulch for a couple of years because our soil is so poor. It's very sandy out here where we live. So by using just the 3x3 boxes, my only need is to amend the soil that's within those boxes instead of this entire square footage of garden, which is, you know, kind of a lot. I have not had great success. My soil is so poor. We amended the boxes this spring with compost and black soil on top of what was already there that I've been working on amending over the couple of years I've been doing it. Still not great. My tomatoes, I really gotta pluck these guys out of here and get them in the compost pile. My tomatoes did okay. Last year they did not do okay. We had terrible issues with blossom end rot. This year they did great, and my chickens love them. In fact, if we continue to have the garden in this area next year, we're going to have to put up a fence to keep the birds out. We did harvest a few, maybe a bushel in total of tomatoes. Otherwise, the birds, as soon as they started to turn red, would get into them and eat them. I have some herbs, as we mentioned before. Got lemongrass, some mint, oregano, and basil were in here. Again, not as easy to grow as you would think. These guys are dwarf cherry bushes. 3 different varieties of those. And then I have 5 different cultivars of blueberries. Again, we didn't get anything off of those this year because the birds outsmarted us. Not just the chickens, but the birds flying around got to the berries before we could. So another reason to build fencing, and we're going to have to put nets over these next year. I do have some asparagus. The asparagus this is the 2nd season since we've planted them, so we can start to harvest lightly off of that next spring. One thing that did grow in my very sandy, nasty soil is potatoes. I have a couple of rows of potatoes. I have Yukons and I have red potatoes. They are still in the ground. I have not harvested them. I need to do so. But they seem to do just fine in the soil. And then these empty beds, I had different things in them. Cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, peas. Nothing really did any good. I had jalapenos last year. Jalapenos did not grow at all this year. So anyway, I need to get in here before the snow flies and clean this up and tidy things up over. So thanks for letting me ramble. It was nice to introduce myself to you guys. I do read all of your comments on Raven's videos, and seems like a really nice group of people that are subscribing and watching his material. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoyed it, and if you would like to see more stuff from Mrs. Raven. Thanks. Bye.